You can see the surface, how it's been stoned out. It's sharp. Green chrome oxide.
Yeah, you recommended that to me, and I used it.
Now you look at that finish on that. Beautiful. Okay, we clean that part up. This is cutting pretty fast here because there's new on there. Nobody seems to use this kind of thing in sewing machines. They always want to use a wheel like that to finish. And right here, you're going to need to also polish out this corner. And I'll show you a major contribution I made. Those seems a very small thing, but it was pretty major. Right here. That little button right there, that little piece. That piece used to be the same height as this lowered surface. And I had when I was just within a month or two after I took over as chief mechanic for the company, I had an 850 machine that kept throwing a little bit of a loose loop on a blanket stitch. Blanket stitch used to be just a big wide zigzag on the, like on the edge of a quilt, with the tape. And anyways, I thought about the problem, and I worked on this machine a whole day, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And I went home, and I was so troubled by it, I had a dream. And early in the morning, the dream said, turn the hand wheel, and I'm looking underneath the machine in the dream. And I turned the hand wheel at a certain point, and I could see where the thread was catching. And I went and I did exactly what the dream said. It was almost like exactly perfect, the dream and what I saw. So I reduced the amount of material, and the problem went away. And I thought, holy mackerel. Because that had plagued Bernina for years with this hook. And they used this hook since the 117 machine. But they had a problem like that since that time. And I sent the hook off and it happened to go into the hands of my friend Heinz Janoschek. And that was the beginning of our history together. And anyway, so that was a major contribution to the hook. And so all the new hooks come with this reduced piece here. This is a thread handling surface, so it has to be very, very smooth with that. And that is for cosmetics. Make sure you look good. This surface, the hook bobbin case support will ride on that surface against it. That's the retaining surface for that, so it has to be really clean, and right near you have oil varnishes on it. May cause the bobbin case support to shimmy, and that affects stitch quality. And of course this end here is the escaping end, and it goes where that lower piece is right in front of that. So that's why we do it. Make sure that is in good shape too. Okay, put it together. It's pretty ugly, but it really is not cleaning that up the wire wheel here. Wow. Almost looks like the machine part. And the surface we're going to polish. I've always been interested in critters. I was telling you earlier about killing the little birds. I don't do that anymore. So I build rifles, and we actually just shoot targets. And my son has a rifle that he's been working on, and we were up shooting with that. Black floor didn't help much. I thought about going to the white floor, and I thought, no way, that's going to
Oh.
look ugly in no time.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, what about a powder blue floor? I might have done that. And anyway, we were shooting 1,000 yards and hitting a target with about the size of this pan here at 1,000 yards is pretty darn good. And that's a lot of fun.
And that's with a scope?
Yes. I mean, it's, even with the scope, it's a very, very small target.
Yeah.
But the drop was 159 inches, so we have to calculate 159 inches about to shoot and hit the target.
How much of the rifle do you make?
I buy the rifled barrel,
Okay.
but it's rough. We've got some hanging over here. You can see that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I have a 22-250 I'm making. The one I just finished is a 220 Swift. They're high-powered 22 caliber rifles, but they're a lot of fun to shoot because you can shoot out. I could probably shoot out. I know we can shoot out 600 yards without any problem, and we can hit clay pigeons that big. But at 700, I don't know. So that's the challenge, and it's a kind of a fun. That's the stop fork, and when that's adjusted, it's adjusted very, very close. You can see when it comes in. That's what's hit the hook, and you can see damage right there. That can cause thread breakage. Ooh, easy. You know, this rough surface here.
Yeah.
So we'll polish it up. Little easy things can cause big problems.
And there have been a number of things on this machine.
Yeah, it's typical.
So this is sort of what you see pretty...
This is one of the better ones that I work on. Oh, yeah. This is really in really pretty good shape.
Yeah, I wanted to get exactly the same model that I had, the 8mm, because it converts nicely to the 9mm foot system, the modern foot system, and so I wanted to do it exactly this. I had such good luck with the first one I did, I wanted to make one for her. Mm-hmm. And love the EFCA motor.
Those are great motors.
And then I put LED, I buy those inexpensive LED gooseneck lamps from IKEA.
Yeah.
But the machinists started using them. They started putting them on their magnetic bases and popping them everywhere because they're such great little lamps. And I have 3 of them mounted at the back of the machine, and just love it.
These lights in here like these are outdoor lights.
Yeah.
And I have a number of them. I got to build some overarms, some adjustable, what you call them, necks, you know, what you call those things.
Gooseneck?
Well, whatever. It's like this one here.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's ancient, but I used to have heavy tools on that, so that's why it's built heavy like that. Anyway, we're going to put this groove in there. You can see it here. Right there. Here. That spring ring fits in there like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the spring ring ahead like this, but cinch it down. My autoimmune system has been so, I went 8, almost 9 years without any kind of infections or colds or anything. Now, after we get this back in, if we thump this one time, it should go around easily one time. Whoop. Went around almost twice. Okay. So we're good to go. And we don't want to have any kind of locking or any tightness on that. And when that's done, then we put the gib back in place. This. Now the hooks are ready to install. So we're all set for assembly. Let's see if we can get this going as fast as we can here.
Well, your body's immune system is a miraculous thing,
Indeed.
which the body can call itself.
Okay. That's good to go, and our tension is already adjusted here. And now we're ready to install. So that's one part we're finished. A product called NCA 15. And it's a long-term, almost a lifetime lubricant. This is a lubricant for needle bearings. So right here, we're gonna lubricate this guy. So, put it on the inside. Like that. And then we're gonna push this through. You want to see it go all the way through the bearings like that.
Is this the stuff that was on there that was kind of brownish, that you said was the original grease?
No, factory didn't. This wasn't even. Yeah, nobody thought of making it at that point. I mean, they had things like that, and they were expensive. But me and Bernina never went to the expense of doing that because it's expensive. And they're there to make money, so yeah. Put that on there. And we'll put this back in the machine. And then we'll put the eccentric here. These are very hard parts. It goes on there. So this goes in the lifting ring here. That's permanently lubricated. Now we have this component that has to go back in. Okay. So this guy is going to go on here. It slides in, and you have little felts like that. And we're going to make sure this is well lubricated. Like that, and lubricant there. This is GLY UH168 oil. Almost like a helicopter there. UH1. What we're going to do now is we're going to put this in here like this to assemble it. Like that. And we're going to put on we have a wave washer here. No, it's not a wave washer. We used to have a wave washer in between this to push that big disc back. Well, we don't have one, but this one goes in here like that. Put that in place. Okay. Not in place yet. These washers in place. Now on this one we have a which is a winder, your bottom liner component. You have a little swage piece here that actually goes into this groove here. Turn it down. There's the groove. Oh, right there. Here's the groove here. And so this guy is going to go in there. In there. And put the shaft through a little bit, and we'll rotate the wheel until it grabs into the groove here. Come on. Are we on there yet? Yeah, maybe not. Oh yes, we are. Okay, good. There we are, we're aligned. Okay, now this guy goes on place here. And then this goes in front like that. We have to align the hole. So this goes in the lifting ring here. That's permanently lubricated. Now we have this component that has to go back in. Okay. So this guy is going to go on here. It slides in. You have little felts like that, and we're going to make sure this is well lubricated. Tap and lubricant there. This is GLY UH168 oil. Almost like a helicopter there. UH1. What we're going to do now is we're going to put this in here like this to assemble it. Like that. And we're going to put on, we have a wave washer here. No, it's not a wave washer. We used to have a wave washer in between this to push that big disc back. But we don't have one. This one goes in here like that. Put that in place. Okay. The washer's in place. Now on this one, we have a wider, your bottom liner component. We have a little swage out piece here that actually goes. So this guy is going to go in there. And take the shaft through a little bit, and we'll rotate the wheel until it grabs. And yes, we are. Good. Here we are. We're aligned. Okay. Now this guy goes on play. His guy's here, and then this goes in front like that. And we have to align the hole. Okay. This guy connecting there. We'll get everything else squared away here in a minute. We'll leave that in there for right now. Now let's get the new main shaft, which is here. And we'll put the pitman on real quick. So I use a lot of principles to make the first hand quilter machine similar to this one. Pound it in place. Pretty close.
Is that the brand new hammer you just got?
Yeah. Looks like this one is going to true the shaft up here. Pull the pitman back where it's supposed to be.
It's obviously you grab it on a point where there's no bearing surface in the vise. Because it's not where the molybdenum was.
Yeah. Yep, grab it there. You don't grab it here.
Yep.
Over here.
Yep.
Okay. Away we go. Okay, we need one brush washer here. Okay. Okay. Here she goes. Here, we're going to slide on this guy. Then we're going to go to some other parts here. So we have how many thrust washers we got left? We should have 2 left. There's one. Put that in there with a thrust washer. Then we have this washer. So that one and this one goes on. Maybe there's another one that says 3 screws.
In this part, we could actually leave off because it's just for decorative stitching if you needed to.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead and put it on. I'll probably never do decorative stitching with it, but
I got a bunch of these
Yeah.
anyway, so.
and that's what would mate with the Delrin cam stack here, right?
Yep. Okay, that goes in place there. Then we have a new gear that we have to put in place. We have yet to adjust this, and what we're going to do is eyeball this. When we put an axle through here, we're going to eyeball this and make sure that that this is centered, that the worm gear here is centered to this bearing axis. Now we're putting the drive gear, main drive gear in, and now as we continue to engage this like this, we're going to go all the way through, and you see why that other shaft is there. It's a heck of a lot easier to do it this way than it would be to try to. Okay, I need to pull these trucks back a bit. You have to continue moving back in order to get the shaft in.
Did you make the alignment shaft yourself?
Which one? This
Yes.
little tool. It's made from a piece of main shaft. I got a lot of stuff laying around. Old stuff. Okay, let's push this back this way and get it in. Like that. And that is about ready to fall out. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, here we go. All the way through. We have to continually pull these back because they're on levers and we can bend those. We don't want to do that. So it'll make us have a bad day. So here, I'm going to lock this in there. Put this back. And these guys back. And those, hold them there. So and we're seated, and put the hand wheel on. Looks pretty good. And this diameter here is set up. You just have to scrape the paint off, but it's 7/8 for an encoder for a smart motor. This simple EFCA motor makes a great combination with this machine. Okay.
Yeah, the smallest EFCA is amazingly powerful motor.
That motor, I can't remember the newton meters of torque of that, but it's powerful.
But I mean, I couldn't imagine it wanting a heavier one. I've never stalled it.
Well, they usually use those for high-speed machines to mean, really high speed. But I mean, your motor is made for pretty good speed.
Well, I have that fancy motor. I have it speed limited. Oh yeah.
You always have to drop the speed down.
I mean, I have it severely severe. For me, it's something like 400 or something,
Just a
ridiculously
skill level
slow.
with the machine,
It's a skill level issue. Operator. I can sew well as long as I sew slowly, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but I mean, you're making shirts and jackets.
Yeah, slowly.
That's not amateur stuff. believe me.
Well, I'm learning. I find mentors like you, and I learn from them. I don't just trial and error. I do some, but I like to find experts in fields and learn from them.
My neighbor up here, she's been divorced for many years, and but she okay. These gears are lapped together, and hopefully we won't have to do anything because they're really high precision gears. But we're going to make sure we put the screws back where they go, which is the first screw in the direction of rotation is the one that goes on the flat. So here is the flat right there. Okay, so that screw is one of these guys.
How does one determine when they need to be lapped together?
Noisy.
Noisy.
Sometimes I'm using old machines. They were so abused, they let the gears get loose, so they didn't wear evenly when I put them back together. The gears are still usable, and I run it, it goes, you can hear this whir. Then I will have to pull the covers back off. I don't put the covers back on immediately until I run the machine in to make sure that I don't have noise, excessive noise. But real quick on this machine, we're going to pull the covers off, and we will put, I don't think I'm going to do that because it's going to use up your time. But I won't put this, I will not, because the machine won't come out of time, because I can wash the gears out easily in here and make sure we don't have any play. We're good. It's not real tight. Where the other screw go? Okay. You see these screws have a super fine thread. You can put a whole lot of torque on those babies. When you reduce the incline of the threads, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
The amount of pressure you apply in there can be minimal. The pressure against the applied pressure against the part that's being adjusted to is tremendous. Now, the other thing that's interesting about construction, some companies will put their screws 90 degrees apart. That's a big mistake. Then it makes the part operate eccentrically. And so you have the most even pressure by doing 120 degrees. Any machine builder would tell you that. That's why I find it kind of interesting that a lot of these companies, Chinese companies, they don't know how to make gears. You buy these aftermarket parts and so forth, they're pretty amateur. Back. That's about right. Within a few thousandths, probably. Okay, that goes on there. So we'll set this guy here. That one in place. That will hold this position, so if we have to make an adjustment, we've got a set collar. Using that as a set collar. Tighten that screw. On a Bernina 730, I saw this one guy says, this is how to replace a camshaft in the machine. He says, you got to pull that axle out because it's really tight. So he develops, he's a machinist, a smart guy that way, but not so smart when it came to understanding what he's doing. There's a post that comes up out of the machine so that the shaft goes through here and it goes through the post, or the camshaft in between. When you're trying to pull the shaft out, it causes the post to lean this way, and it just simply pinches the shaft because it's such high precision. It doesn't take much to pinch it. And then he built a puller to pull the bearing out, and I'm thinking, man, you're gonna damage the machine. And so that was what prompted me to make the video about how to change that and how to do it properly. And it has nearly all of these adjustments. I didn't put all of them in there, but enough for a person to get by. And okay.
Yeah, Ruth and I watched right before we came here. We watched the one on setting the
needle position.
The needle positions.
Oh, by the way, I'm only half done with that. I should have put that screw in there before I did this. I'm going at an angle. lucky. I'll get it. Look at that. Got it. Okay. Now we have a screw that goes in here, and that's a fine thread, very fine thread. See on that one? And I think that one's out here. And there's that's it. There. It's a 6mm screw. Super duper fine thread.
One of the first tools I'm going to get, Ruth, is that magnetizer he uses. Did you see that?
The one over here?
Yeah, he just passes it. Right, it's up there. It just passes.
There it is. I knew I.
He just passes the screwdriver through that.
You can get them at O'Reilly or wherever you
Yeah,
want.
sure.
The ones I prefer though are on this right here. These are neodymiums.
This one?
No, right here. Those are neodymiums. If you try pulling that whole magnet set off there, you'll see what I mean.
You have to do it. You have to work it.
Yeah, they're very powerful.
Yeah, they'll give you a blood blister when they click them together between your
You
fingers.
have a block this big, magnet like that. If you get your finger under it, it'll crush your finger. It will crush it and break the bone.
Yeah.
It's that powerful.
Yeah.
My son, who works for C. Williamson, they make these smart pigs for checking pipelines.
Mm-hmm.
They, excuse me. We're going to put this in. Lubrication now. From here and a little bit in there. Okay. Go back here. They have what they do is they have an array of. You know what? Before you do that, just a minute. It's too tight here. Okay. So,
Get the anvil out.
actually, I'm going to use it like this. It's better to use it like
Is that a piece of railroad track?
It is. It's actually a little. There's a small train here, a smaller gauge
I was
track
going to say it looks like narrow gauge.
called Bamberger, and it operated in the 50s and early 60s. And then it was dismantled, and so the high rail area where it was at, which is raised ground, it has a bicycle trail. We have the best bicycle trails around. They go all the way from South Salt Lake all the way up into Ogden. I have a recumbent because I can't ride a bike anymore. Okay, here. Okay, little mark. Okay. Check it down below. Oh, lucky me. Everything's perfect. It's free. Okay, there we go. Didn't take much.